Here's all you need to know about Big Ed Brown, as featured on 90 Day Fiancé. Although Big Ed Brown, who plays Big Ed Brown on 90 Day Fiancé, is one of the most well-known faces in the franchise, he has had to pay a price for his fame since the year 2020. Big Ed has been a part of the franchise, and he has starred in a number of spin-offs, each of which included at least 3 distinct on-screen girlfriends despite the fact that they were for the wrong reasons. Big Ed's relationships with Rosemary, also known as Rose Vega, and Elizabeth Liz Rose have helped him remain relevant. Big Ed has been able to successfully capitalize on his fame by participating in a sufficient number of controversies on a consistent basis. Big Ed made a veiled reference to his departure from 90 Day Fiancé in November 2024, citing the fact that his contract was due to expire. Both Netflix and Hulu allegedly approached him. According to his statement, Big Ed began his journey in reality television with only 350 followers on Instagram when he first began his trip. Within the span of just one show, his followers had increased by more than 250,000 in a single night. As an illustration of how the internet can turn a villain into a superstar, Big Ed is a good example of how this may happen. During the 4th season of 90 Day Fiancé, before the 90 days, Big Ed started his journey with the show from the very beginning. Originally from San Diego, he was a photographer who had developed feelings for a woman named Rose who was from the Philippines and was significantly younger than his own daughter. Big Ed had first encountered Rose on Facebook, and he was now on his way to meet her in person for the very first time. Unbeknownst to him, the journey was going to completely transform the course of his life. In the course of the series, Big Ed and Rose were responsible for some of the most memorable moments. Big Ed was assured by the producers that he would become famous all over the world. The actions that Big Ed took with Rose led to him becoming more notorious than renowned. Big Ed did some fairly alarming things on the show with Rose, such as asking her to shave her legs in exchange for a kiss from him, or giving her a toothbrush and toothpaste since her break smelt bad. His appearance was already enough to identify him from other people. Large Ed lacked any notion of how to conduct himself in romantic relationships. It was possible that this was the reason he had not been in a relationship since his divorce nearly 40 years earlier. The nice guy act that Big Ed put on was met with criticism. Big Ed took pleasure in taking Rose's humiliation. Following his relationship with Rose, Big Ed went on to date yet another younger woman, this time one who was from the countryside. At the beginning of the year 2021, Big Ed first encountered Liz at the restaurant in San Diego, where she was employed as a waitress management. Once it became apparent to him that he intended to ask her out, he continued to make numerous visits to her restaurant throughout that time. During the course of her shift, Big Ed completed the task while she was surrounded by both clients and co-workers. Liz ended up agreeing to date him, and she spent the last 3 years of her life feeling regretful about every single day of her life. 15 times, Big Ed ended his relationship with Liz. I am prepared to meet the one who is right for me. The relationship between Big Ed and Liz ended after the first season of their time together. Following the breakup, Big Ed dated a woman named Kaori for a short period of time on the show 90 Day, The Single Life. It was through a common friend that Big Ed was introduced to Kaori, and he went to Mexico in order to see her in person. After shots were fired during their first date together, Big Ed and Kaori ended up scurrying for cover, making it a memorable experience for both of them. Big Ed was able to establish a relationship with Kaori, but she had the impression that he was trying to push things. Even though Big Ed believed that Kaori was into him, she ended up ghosting him. Big Ed was perplexed by this development. From the 1990s till the present day, Big Ed was married to a woman whose name was Sandy Heckman. They got a divorce in 1992 after he had married her in 1990. It was when Big Ed's wife discovered that he had been unfaithful to her that the whirlwind marriage of Big Ed came to an end. There's just one child that Big Ed and Sandra have together, and her name is Tiffany. Tiffany has appeared in multiple seasons. Given that Big Ed's daughter is 34 years old, it is also debatable whether or not he would be interested in dating women who are half his age. When it came to Big Ed's connection with Liz, Tiffany and him had developed a disagreement. Big Ed's mother, Norma Brown, is a significant figure in his life with a significant impact. During the first season of Big Ed's career, he was residing with his mother. Due to the fact that she had lost her home and the man she was seeing had passed away, he had located a bungalow with 2 bedrooms and moved in with her. She was struck by a car in October of 2020, and as a result, she required back surgery. By the time Big Ed began dating Liz, it would appear that Norma was forced to relocate. The engagement between Big Ed and Liz was not something that Norma approved of, however. After Big Ed had been seeing Liz for 2 years, she did give her permission to Big Ed. The manner in which Big Ed dealt with Liz contributed to the spread of the notion that he is a vile individual. In spite of the fact that she was embarrassed or that her family was looked down upon due to their financial situation, 90-Day Big Ed, who was a fiancé, became a regular character in the franchise. However, Big Ed did not tell Liz the truth. A worrisome attraction in younger ladies was another thing that he possessed. Big Ed appeared to take great pride in the fact that his wife had left him as a result of his extramarital affair. In addition, he never accepted responsibility for the actions he had taken. Big Ed has also made rude comments about Liz, such as advising her to reduce her weight and predicting that she will stop her relationship with her new lover. The most recent scandal that Big Ed has been involved in concerns his proposing to a woman that he had met during a meet and greet and then proposing to her within 24 hours. During the Instagram Live broadcast, Big Ed had lit himself on fire. An allegation sexual assault that occurred off-screen has been leveled against him. Big Ed was attempting to bring in money through the show. It was irrelevant to him whether he was dating Liz, Rose, or Haori as long as it kept him on the show and enabled him pursue clout. He pursued clout regardless of who he was seeing. The controversial individual even went so far as to get a tattoo of his own face on his leg, which is a clear indication of the degree of his preoccupation with himself. Big Ed was born with Klippel-Feil syndrome, which caused him to make it appear as though he did not have a neck. While the majority of other individuals typically have 7 vertebrates, Big Ed only has 3 vertebrates that are the size of 2. In addition, his chest cavity is of a bigger size than typical. The reason he chose the name Big Ed for himself is that he has a massive personality, and it also gives him the appearance of being tall. He stands at a height of 4 steps and 11 inches. It was because she had stated that her height was 5 feet 2 inches that he had informed her that he was the same height. However, Big Ed did not receive a diagnosis of Klippel-Feil syndrome until he was 16 years old. During the first season of his career, Big Ed was busy working as a professional photographer. He had a background in wedding photography, fashion photography, studio photography, and advertising photography. He used to reside in San Diego. He has a master's degree in architecture and design from the New School of Architecture and Design. In addition to being a trained photographer, he boasted about being quite successful in the industry, which he had been working in for more than 18 years. He has been featured on 6 different picture covers. Big Ed has successfully carried out photo shoots in a variety of geographical locations across the globe, including Santa Margherita Ligure, Italy, Kauai, Quito, Ecuador, and Puerto Vallarta. Big Ed also worked as an interior designer at Studio Europa, which was headquartered in San Diego. Studio Europa was a company that offered clients assistance with the design and remodeling of their kitchens. Big Ed is a social media influencer who has amassed a massive following as a result of his success as a result of the show 90-Day Fiancé. In the year 2021, Big Ed made more than $100,000 simply by fulfilling cameo requests. Big Ed's falling popularity may have prompted him to take up his present real estate career after moving to Arkansas instead of continuing to make cameo videos. This decision was made after Big Ed moved to Arkansas. According to reports, Big Ed has closed more than $1 million worth of sales in his first year as a real estate agent.